Hi everyone. So the last video I made was about um, how to have a conversation about end of life medical decisions, and this one is a follow-up about what to do in the case that there are disagreements about the end of life decisions. And this is something that I am personally going through, and I just thought I would share what I would kind of break down for other conversations. So in the last video, I had explained the types of conversations that need to be had regarding end-of-life medical decisions, which is the Advanced Care Directive and the PULST. And those forms, again, are available through your healthcare providers. Now, for us, when we went through this experience, it actually was not black and white. And if it is black and white and everyone can agree, and yourself or your loved one, the person who is doing the form, is very alert, very intentional, then all the decisions on the form can be made by yourself or your loved one. And you don't need anybody else involved except for witnesses to sign off on the paper to say that you're coherent, and then you give it to your doctors and it sits in your records and it's fine. The issue that happens here is when it does not seem so clear how you or your loved one are feeling about end of life decisions. And it could just be like you have no idea how to imagine it, and so you can't make any decisions about what you would want. Also, it could be that you think you know, or you're frustrated in the moment about being very ill, and it's affecting your mood and your perception about life, but it's not actually what you want when you do feel better. The issue that we are running into is when the person we are discussing is not coherent and cannot speak on behalf of themselves. Then you have to get together and make decisions for that person that you think they would want to make for themselves. And this is a hard decision. They're all hard decisions because you feel so responsible for someone's livelihood. But I want to really remind you that these end of life decisions, they are for you to execute with good conscience that you are advocating for your loved one. They are not for you to put your own interest or your own agenda, or ask yourself, what would I do if I was in this person's situation? Because you're not. And it's so different. And when we have spent more time in the hospital, every single visit can cause us to change our minds about how we're feeling. So if you run into a situation where there's more than one party and you disagree about what your loved one wants, what we were doing, what I was doing, was that I needed to build up a case. I am a healthcare provider myself. I'm a nurse. I have worked in a skilled nursing facility. I have seen people pass away. I have seen people withering away in the healthcare facility. And I have an idea of what life would be like for people if they were to get better, or if they were not to get better and yet somehow be alive because their life was saved by CPR or intubation. So you have to make your case. That's number one. Your case is based off of your background and your professional expertise, your education. Most importantly, it is of your understanding of that person, your loved one, and their philosophy of life. We had a very thoroughly guided conversation with a palliative care doctor today, and she had even explained that when you are talking about someone's quality of life, they can mean two different things. Quality of life for one person might mean that I need to be alert. And if I'm not alert anymore, if I don't remember my loved ones at all, and if you are just feeding me and I'm going to the bathroom and I'm not doing anything else that used to be me, I would rather not be alive. That is one form of quality of life. The other quality of life is someone who just says, I just want to be alive. And I know that I may lose my mind, but if my body is still in one piece, then I still want to keep going and I want people to care for me. And some people are okay with that decision too. And the doctor did indicate that there are a lot of people who make decisions not based off of how they want to leave, but based off of their fear about leaving. So if you knew and you had a better idea, then you would be more intentional about your decisions rather than thinking about the things that you want to avoid, like death. And a lot of people who want to avoid death forget that if they were to avoid it to the extent of having CPR or intubation, that those things are really, really aggressive interventions. And the doctor gave us an example that if you or your loved one are older in age, later in life with illnesses, that something like CPR can be so aggressive. It can break your rib cages, it can bruise you, it can actually leave you in the ICU for several weeks after that because your heart stopped, they got it to go again, they got it to pump blood, but now you have to deal with the after effects of having CPR. So number one, please make your case, know what the outcome is that you're hoping for, that you think might be in the best interest and the best desires of your loved ones. The second thing I would say is to get reinforcements. And reinforcements means to get validation from other family members who know the person, friends who know the person, wisdom from any religious affiliations that your loved one may be a part of. We're part of the Catholic Church, and so we are able to consult a priest, and I actually have a family member who is both a family member of the loved one and a priest. And so we were really able to get like a spiritual perspective on the decisions that we were making also. And again, more people who could speak to the person's character and having an idea of what they would want. So that's getting reinforcements, because you do definitely need a mediator and a buffer. It's just really common if you are having any disagreement with anyone, and it's not even about end-of-life decisions, right? That there can be an ego struggle, that people are feeling attacked or pressured, or things are getting heated. And that leads me to my third point. My third point is, before you have the conversation about these disagreements, that you really release and process any anger, resentment, frustration, tension you may have. And I was reminded that even though we may disagree about the next end of life decisions that need to be made, that we will all end up being the ones who are still alive even when we lose our loved one. And so we have to be careful to treat the relationship with those who are living with care and kindness, and not to go so intensely with our thoughts that it creates division for those who are left still living with each other. We don't want to be hostile. We don't want to blame each other. We don't want to guilt each other about what could have been or what should have been done. And we don't want to resent each other either. So that was number 3, just removing all of those really charged emotions. And you might just need to talk to a therapist yourself. Talk to palliative care on your own. Go to therapy, talk to family and friends, things like that. And then the fourth thing that I wanted to say was to prepare yourself, or afterwards, after you have had the conversation, before or after, that there will need to be a level of acceptance and surrender for the outcome, no matter what it is. When there are disagreements about someone's life, of course, it is a very passionate conversation. And there may be someone who will feel disappointed. And I'm actually the person that feels disappointed. I was really sad with the outcome of the conversation. Again, because there were opposing ideas about what our loved one would want to have done. And so I could push my case all day, as could the other party. Eventually, someone will have to make a decision when things happen, and then someone will have to live with the outcome of those decisions. The person that has to live with the outcome is less so the loved one, the sick family member. Yeah, they're going to experience the consequences. They're going to be alive and they're going to be in the hospital bed. But by then, they're usually so disengaged with life, kind of checked out, that the impact on them is not as bad, because they might be more disoriented or just totally mentally not there, or so overwhelmed and depressed that they're not thinking about it the same way that we are. And we're the ones who have to live with the decision that we made for that person. So those are the 4 things that I wanted to suggest that you talk about and that you prepare for when you do have disagreements about end-of-life decisions. And I hope this helped you. I hope you can like the video and subscribe to my channel. And I really, really want to continue building a community here, supporting everyone through really uncomfortable conversations and topics in life. I'll talk to you later. Bye.